Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hi, my name is Natasha and it's fantastic to have you here. For today's video, as I am filming, it is currently spooky season, so I thought what better way to get into the mood than to discuss some dark aesthetic tarot decks. So I'm going to be counting down my collection here. We have 6 decks that are kind of whimsical, fun, dark, and then we have 6 decks that are scary, spooky skeletons dark. So with that, these are just my opinions. You do not have to agree with me. These are just how I feel about them, how I view them, but I'm just sharing with you my thoughts on these. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start with the whimsical fun, and then we'll move up to the dark and spooky. This video is kindly sponsored by Madam Glam New York. They are a nail polish company that is vegan. They're free from 21 of the most toxic chemicals found in nail polish. And by the way, there's not a huge nail polish smell, which is fantastic. They're cruelty-free, meaning they don't test on animals and never will. And they are produced with respect for the environment, meaning they are palm oil free. So as a consumer, this is a company I can get behind. Now, they have sent me the cutest little bottles. These are their brand new minis. They are the same exact polish that you know and love, only in a mini little bottle here. So normally their bottles look like this, and they are 15 milliliters or 0.5 fluid ounces. And the minis, they are 3.5 milliliters or 0.11 fluid ounces. So there's the size comparison there. They are adorable. I really do like these colors. I tried some nail art. I tried to challenge myself. Please don't come for me with my nail art. I know it's not the best. I am not a nail artist per se, but I am very proud of this rose here. So what I really like about the minis is that there's no commitment, right? So instead of buying a full-size bottle like this, you can spend, if you're a VIP, $4.95 on a mini and try out the color. If you don't like it, you're not out, a big bottle of nail polish and having to gift it, right? The other thing that is great about this size is that they're travel friendly. You can throw it in a makeup bag, a cosmetic bag, or your purse, and they're good to go. But they're also great for gifts. So if you're throwing a bridal shower, baby shower, bridesmaids gifts, so you can find out your wedding color, pick it out and give it to the bridesmaids. There's so many different ways of using a travel size like this. And then 2, if you are doing nail art, this is a fantastic way to get a color that normally you wouldn't get in your repertoire of colors and utilize it for just that specific nail art. So for instance, if you're not a red person, but you need just that one accent nail with red, you can get the Mother Chucker color here and use it as a rose accent. Same thing with all of the crazy colors. Things you want to test out and try out before you buy a big bottle. So I'm really happy with these. I just want to go down the list of names because they're hilarious to me. This one is Mother Chucker, like we said, and it reminds me of like a rooster. This one is a nude. This is I'm Fine, and that is this nude color here. This is the blue. This is called Maddie. And then the other nude here is called Pivot. And I believe this is from their Friends collection, Unofficial Friends. So it's this color here. And my favorite out of all of them is this green. It's like a dark, dusty green. And it is the Busy Avocado. So this one has to be my favorite out of all of them. I absolutely love it. It's perfect for fall, and I love those nudes for fall as well. So let me know what you think about the nail art. Please don't judge me too harshly because, again, like, not my forte, but I tried. Also, thank you so much to Madam Glam for sponsoring yet another video. I appreciate it so much. And thank you to everybody out there who is watching and understand that sponsorships allow me to create more videos for you all to enjoy. So thank you so much. Don't forget to check out the links down in the description box below, as well as in the pinned comment by me to check out Madam Glam for yourself. All right, everyone, back to the video. All right, coming in at number 12 with my whimsical goth dark aesthetic. we have the Stokes Gothic Tarot. I do not remember how much this retails for, but I believe it was under $23. And it's published by Foreigner. It is in multiple languages, which is fantastic. It reminds me of Lo Scarabeo in that way. They're very skinny, very skinny. And then the guidebook itself, it doesn't have a lot to go off of, so I wasn't too impressed with that. But like I said, it is in different languages, which is a plus, you know. Love the multilingual aspect of that. But it is a pip deck. It's not a terrible pip deck. So beginners might have a little bit of a struggle with it. It doesn't read entirely well for me specifically, but it is fun to break out for the Halloween season. It is your typical bats, vampires, skulls, and I'm here for it. We even got dragons. So it's a fun deck to kind of pull out when you want this vibe. I do wish that there were a lot more, that the cards themselves were bigger so we could see more of the art, because the art is really pretty. But like I said, it's a pip deck, so if you struggle with those, this might not be the deck for you. But I think it's fun. It reminds me of my early 20s when I was really into this goth scene stuff. This kind of brings me back to that. So it's fun. It's very Hot Topic before Hot Topic switched to pop culture, right? So it's fun. It's different. If you're into that kind of imagery, this is great. It's spooky without being too scary, if that makes any sense. So that is my number 12. Let me know if you own this, if this is something that you enjoy working with. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Number 11 on the whimsical side of the spooky, scary, dark aesthetic, we have the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot. This is written by Rose Wright and illustrated by Eugene Smith. It is published by Llewellyn, retailing for $31.99 in the US. This came out, I believe, in 2020. I'm not sure. All of the years now have been swimming together. But it's very well done as far as the art goes. The book is thick and great, and it kind of explains exactly like where the imagery is from. And as far as I know, I've only read like 2 Edgar Allan Poe works, so having that for a jumping off point really helped me in using this deck. There's some spreads in here as well. This has got to be one of my favorite backs of all time. I think it's great. And I say it's whimsical dark because it is. It's brightly colored. It's very well done as far as the illustrations go. It's not too spooky. I thought it was going to be a little bit more dark and disturbing, which, you know, sometimes you want in a deck. But it is kind of depressing in certain scenes, especially if you know some of the backstories to the works here. But it's fun if you know the works too. Like, it's absolutely one of those things where it's like, aha, I know where that came from. So it's a really fun, different deck, and I like to bring it out occasionally when I'm like doing a more serious read. This is great for shadow work too. I just enjoy it. It's not one of my favorites, like it's not my go-to, but I like to bring it out occasionally for those reasons. So there's a lot of interesting imagery in here. And if you are an Edgar Allan Poe fan and you own this deck, let me know what your favorite card is down in the comment section, or your favorite work from Edgar Allan Poe. I think he has a fascinating story, and he's a very interesting person in history. So let me know all your thoughts about that down in the comment section. If you own this deck, do you use it a lot? Were you disappointed in it? I know there's another one that came out recently. I have not purchased it yet because I have this one. So if you want me to check out the new Edgar Allan Poe Tarot, I will do so. But I feel like the quality is there. The cardstock is great. It's Llewellyn cardstock. I actually really do like Llewellyn cardstock because of its flexibility. It's a gloss. I don't really have any complaints other than I need to read more Edgar Allan Poe. So that is my number 11. All right, my number 10 for the Whimsical Dark. We have the Ghost and Spirit Tarot by Lisa Hunt. This is published by US Game Systems, and I believe this is $21 or $22.99 as well. It is in a tuck box, but Ghost and Spirit Tarot explores the fascinating subject of ghosts, surveying supernatural lore and legend from around the world. So it has 79 cards with ethereal beings. And why I have this as the whimsical one, you'll see with the art. I think it's really beautifully done. I love the back, the little ghosts. So fun. It's your typical US Game System cardstock. I love it. It shuffles really well. There is a slight gloss, but look at how fun this artwork is. It's very whimsical, but it still has that dark aesthetic behind it. Some of them can be very sad, but some of them can be very hopeful too. Like this is very hopeful to me. And it's almost like you're spending time with your past loved ones when you're using this deck. It feels very comforting. I mean, obviously not this. But there's something about this deck that feels very comforting and very loving. And this is great for getting in touch with your past loved ones, spirit guide work. This is great for working in that aspect with the tarot reading. It's also just great in general. I really do love the art style. It's very ethereal feeling and it's just beautifully done. Like, oh. And again, when I purchased this, I thought it was going to be more of the spooky, scary type, but it actually isn't. It's one that I connected with pretty instantly. It also reminds me of Paulina Cassidy's work, or Paulina Faye. So I highly recommend checking this out if it's something that you are interested in. I mean, the imagery is really vibrant. You get lots of great intuitive hits off of it. If you are more inclined to want a darker deck with a more positive twist, if that makes any sense at all, I hope I'm explaining this correctly. It's just really a wholesome dark deck, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to describe it, but you can see for yourself what I'm trying to convey. Very beautifully done. And it shuffles just great. I don't think I shuffled the other two, but that's okay. Moving forward, I will. Shuffles just fine. And I really do enjoy working with it. So that is my number 10. Number 9 on my whimsical side, we have the Darkwood Tarot. So Sasha Graham and art by Abigail Larson. I absolutely love Abigail Larson's work. It reminds me of a darker Disney / Don Bluth. I absolutely adore it. It's so much fun. So this is fantastic for shadow work. It is retailing for $31.99 in the US and it's published by Llewellyn. I unboxed this and I fell in love right away. So it's the magnet style. It's just so well put together. I love the guidebook. It has, instead of a reversal, it's a shadow side. So that was fun to see. There's some spreads. There's a lot of info in the book. It gives just enough information to where you can understand if you were a beginner to play around with the deck. But there's the back. Again, it's a gloss, typical Llewellyn cardstock. But look at the imagery. Ugh. It's just so breathtaking. And again, dark enough to where it's not super scary, but you have that aesthetic. And the little shadows there. It's so beautiful. I could be biased, but I absolutely will purchase anything Abigail Larson makes because her art just calls to me. I love it. But you can see how it's still kind of playing with the light. It's playing with the darkness. It's playing with the duality. And I really enjoy using this for more serious readings, as well as, like I said before, shadow work. So if I'm trying to work through something, or if I want to, kind of face my demons, this is a great, gentler shadow deck to work with. So if you are looking for a deck that kind of suits that side, this might be the one for you. I'll show you how it shuffles. This is going to shuffle the same as the Edgar Allan Poe. I absolutely love the size of it. I have no issues with it at all. So if this is a deck that you own, let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know what you like using it for. Is it your everyday deck? Let me know all your thoughts again down in the comments. This deck got me just by the packaging. This is the Macabre Tarot by Samantha West, and this packaging is phenomenal. I love it. I am here for a coffin-shaped anything. It is published by Rockpool, and I can't quite recall. Oh, there it is. It's $34.95 in the US and $25 in the UK. And when you open it up, I'm hoping that it still works because it was a little dead before. No pun intended. Okay, yeah, so let me get it out. Okay, it's only supposed to make the sound once. But the guidebook is great. There's just enough information to get you by, just enough that you need. And then the art is fun. It's dark enough. Like I said, it's not too spooky, but everybody has their own level of spookiness. And it's great, again, for shadow work, for facing your demons, figuring out what you are neglecting. And it's just fun. It's great in this Halloween season. I love a little bit of a darker deck. This kind of has some cheekiness to it too. So it's not super scary per se when you're reading with it, as some of the other ones that we will get to. But I think it's great. I think it's fun. And it's held up pretty nicely for the price because there is that gold foiling, and it's held up pretty decently with the amount I've been using it. So I was surprised with that. But like I said, everybody has their own level of spookiness. So this might be very scary to some of you, but to me, I was expecting it to be a lot darker, to be honest. They do switch up the court card names. There's like the haunting, the tarot, or the terror, I should say. There's the nightmare, and there's one more and I can't find it. But yeah, it's very fun, very spooky. Oh, massacre. Sorry, that's what that is. Fun. I'll show you how it shuffles. The cardstock itself is a little bit thicker. It kind of reminds me of the US game system cardstock. I don't have an issue shuffling with it at all. It's quite fun. It's a cheeky deck. I like how cheeky it is, and I enjoy it when I use it. So let me know if you have this. Has your battery died? Because I thought mine did, and apparently it didn't. So let me know all your thoughts down below. Alrighty, my number 7, but my number 1 out of the Dark Whimsical group is the Horror Tarot. This is again illustrated by Abigail Larson, written by Aria Grimter and Minerva Siegel. Retailing for $24.99 in the US and $33.99 in Canada. When I was pleasantly surprised, I was pleasantly surprised. Could the images be a little bit bigger? Absolutely. But for the most part, considering the other Insight editions that we were experiencing, this is beautiful. So there's the back. It is a matte, but it has red foiling for the titles down below. The guidebook is pretty good too. It's not long worded, so as a beginner it will work for you. And like I always say with any tarot deck that you're drawn to, if you don't like the guidebook, always have a reference book nearby to help you expand on what is in the tarot deck guidebook. So just great. I love it because they're all horror archetypes. So it's not based on one type of a movie. It's actually just all horror icon type deals. You know, we have, here's the like beast slash devil, a gargoyle. They're all different. This is like Jack the Ripper. We've got some wonderful illustrations here. So I absolutely think this is fantastic. But again, like I said in the Darkwood, I'm biased because I love Abigail Larson's work. So I'm always going to gravitate toward loving anything she does. So it was done really well considering, you know, what we were expecting. We were expecting to get a pip deck, and that's not what this is. There's a lot more going on in the minors than just symbols. So that was great to see. The quality of the cardstock is your Inside Editions cardstock. So they are on the thinner side. They're matte. They shuffle fine though. They might take a minute to break in for a bit because I don't know why their cardstock usually does for me. But they shuffle just fine. And I think they're fun for this Halloween season. I think they're very dynamic. I love the color. The borders are great. I think the only complaint I have is I would love the numbers and the titles to be a little bit bigger because they do tend to be a little hard to read because they are foiled and they are small. So that would be my only complaint. I don't mind the smaller borders. Would I like more? Absolutely, always, but it's not going to make or break it. This is my least favorite card, just strictly because it's a clown, but everything else is so fun and definitely on theme. Let me know if you purchased this, if you own it, what do you think about it? I was, again, like I said, pleasantly surprised. All right, so now we get into the really dark imagery here, and with number 6, it's not my favorite. I'm just going to throw it out there right now, but the majors were done really beautifully. So this is the Cthulhu Dark Arts Tarot. This is from the world of H.P. Lovecraft. It is published by Cyranos, and it retails for $30 in the US, $38 in Canada, $21.99 in the UK. And the artwork is by Fortifem, and the author is Maxim Ledane. So hopefully I'm saying that correctly. The reason why I don't like it most of all is because it's really awkward for me to try to shuffle and use, and I'll show you why. Also, the packaging here, I thought it was going to be wonderfully done, but there's no thumb grip, so it makes it awkward for me to open up the deck. The reading guide, too, leaves a lot to be wanting here. There's just literal, like, a couple words. So that was disappointing to see. There are a couple spreads, which is nice, but I'm looking at the price compared to what you're getting as well. So they are really big cards. Really big. So here's the Ghost and Spirit deck. There's the size comparison. So for me, it's really hard to use. I can't shuffle it, but you know, that's not the be all end all for everybody. Maybe you guys can, but like, as you can see, I cannot shuffle and I can't grip it that way. So what I've done is shuffle it side by side like this, which works okay. Right, and I can't really shuffle it this way. I've got to try to shuffle it this way. So for me, I can't really use it. But again, that's just me personally. They had done a wonderful job on the majors. It is a pip deck. There's nothing inherently wrong with the pip deck. I just don't prefer them in my case. If I see stunning art like this, I just want more of it. But it is on the darker side because of the topic that this deck is based upon. I don't know much of anything about Lovecraftian works. I just know Cthulhu and, you know, what are the old gods, I think it's called. So this deck really isn't for me. It wasn't made for me. And I'm showing it because it is very dark, but the artwork is beautiful if you like this kind of stuff. Very dark, spooky, fun. Again, would have loved to have more of it, but that's just my opinion. So you can see it's very different. Very interesting. It's very intriguing, but one of the reasons why, again, I wasn't too impressed with it is the guidebook didn't really give me like, okay, we picked this character, it's from this story, and this is why it embodies that energy. But again, if this is your cup of tea, awesome. I'm just showing you a different kind of dark deck. So that is my number 6, and let's continue. All right, number 5, we have Tarot of Haunted House. This is by Sasha Graham and Mirko Pierfederici. Hopefully I am pronouncing that correctly. I do apologize if I am not. This is published by Lo Scarabeo. And as you can see, I've put it to work. I've had it for quite some time. I'm not really positive about how much it retails for. I believe it's under $23. So it is a tuck box. The artwork is stunning. It is in multiple languages per Lo Scarabeo. And the guidebook, it kind of tells the story as it goes along, which is interesting. So, I mean, you could probably use a tarot reference guide in addition to this because it is kind of like a story, more so than this is the specific definition. But the back, though, it's beautiful. Love it. And what's great about this too is it reads, if you do reversals, it reads the same both ways. The cardstock itself is thin but thick, if that makes sense. There's a little bit of a gloss to it, not too much. It shuffles beautifully. So it's pretty dark. The topic here is pretty dark, but it's so wonderfully done. And there's little nuances that you can pick up when you go through the deck. Like this is the Fool, although this is the Lover's card, she's not in the scene. Like it's a mirror, either she's watching or it's a picture. It's just so fun to see different things that you pick up on in this deck. Like very dark, very dark. Some of the things could be a little bright like this. There are some angels in this deck as well. Trying to get to the darker ones, but it's just a beautifully rendered deck. The art is gorgeous. I feel like you can pick up on so many different intuitive hits on each card. It tells the story beautifully. You see the same Fool in the cards, so you get the story that's behind it. Yeah, I really don't have anything big negative to say about this deck. I really do enjoy working with it. It can be kind of intense, especially this one. It's like exorcism. But I think you get a different vibe each time you use it, and depending on what you use it for. This one in and of itself is very creepy. But yeah, I really do love it. I feel like it is the perfect amount of dark for me. Perfect amount of scary, I'll say. Shuffles beautifully. There you go. If you own this deck, let me know if you enjoy using it or if you have a specific use for your deck. Like, is it your everyday use, or is it your shadow work deck, or is it the deck that you pull out around Halloween? Let me know all of those thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, number 4, we've got the Dark Grimoire Tarot. This is another Lo Scarabeo deck, another tuck box. This is 78 cards to communicate with your own dark side, images that allow us to look into the darkest corners of our soul where we can seek a new life. So this kind of plays upon more of the shadow work for me. I do recommend, if you're a beginner, to get yourself a reference book again with this, because it doesn't go into a lot of description in the guidebook, but it gives you enough to understand what's going on. The cards themselves do a really good job with the imagery. There's the back. This retails for $23.95 in the US. I don't know if I mentioned that. There's a semi-gloss to it. The cardstock itself is pretty nice. It's not too thick, not too thin. Shuffles really well. There's a little bit of a gloss to it. But yeah, this has a little bit more sinister imagery in it. Especially that. So yeah, this is definitely one if you like dark imagery. This is great. There's some lightness in here too. But again, another fantastic shadow work deck to kind of face your fears, figure out, you know, what lurks beneath the surface there. Very monotone with the colors too, so it's not too intense. Muted is what I want to say, not monotone. But yeah, there's some nice positive imagery in here as well as the dark. This is definitely not a deck for everyone. Most of these coming up are not going to be. But yeah, I can appreciate this. I feel like it's kind of like, especially like this, it's kind of like working alongside your fears and your demons and figuring it all out. So it is one of those decks where it is intense, but it's kind of got more of a positive side along with it, if that makes any sense at all. So I'll show you how it shuffles. Just fine. It's not one that I bring out often. Like, I have to be in the mood to use this deck. But I don't have any issues with how it shuffles. I believe that this deck was actually a requested deck for us to look at. So I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't one that I picked up willingly. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't go out of my way to pick it up. I believe it was a requested deck. So if you own this, let me know what you think. All right, number 3. This is the Galatia Tarot in Darkness. This is by Fabio Lestrani. I absolutely love his artwork. Another Scarabeo deck, Low Scarabeo. This retails for $26.95. And I like the packaging. It comes off up top, but I just want to show you the rest. This is based upon the Galatia, which I don't know anything about. Demonology stuff. And I'm not trying to disrespect anything at all. I'm just letting you know I have no knowledge of how that works, any of that at all. There is a companion to this coming out. It is the light side of this, so I will be reviewing that when it comes out. The other thing in here is that it's great with explaining stuff about the Galatia and how this deck came to be, but there is really no like guidebook. It's just a chart. It has the name of the demon, the card it's associated with, the meaning of, so like a very, very brief meaning, the nature, the planet it's connected with, the zodiac, and then the traditional tarot abbreviation. So, and then again, it's in multiple different languages, but you can see why it's so dark. It's beautifully done. However, my biggest complaint with this deck is that it's so dark. So my eyesight is terrible and I'm trying to like appreciate the beauty and the detail. And then I just, it kind of all blends together for me, but it is really nicely done as far as the imagery goes. There's the symbols, the numbers, and then the title of the traditional tarot, whether it's got the feminine or the masculine, the zodiac sign. So it's all there. Very, very dark. It can be intense. And again, this is something that I don't normally work with. Again, this was a requested deck, so I reviewed it for that. I like that Lilith is in here. But I think every once in a while I bring it out just to see what kind of things that I need to work on, maybe bring into focus as far as my shadow work goes, because we're always healing. We're always dealing with shadow work, right? So you get the picture with that. Let me show you how it shuffles. It is a thicker feeling card. It is a higher gloss, so it will be a little bit more firm to shuffle. It's not as flexible. I like the quality of the cardstock. I think for the price, I would have liked more with the guidebook, but I'm not terribly upset. So if this is something that you have, do you work with it often? Is this your everyday deck, or is this for special occasions or special workings? Let me know what you think down in the comments. All right, number 2, this is the Black Tarot by Victoria Iva. This is published by Debray. This retails for, I believe, $24.95. But this deck is beautiful. I was not expecting to love it as much as I actually do. Look at that back. Oh, and it's a matte, and the card borders are matte black. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so the guidebook is all based upon Rider-Waite-Smith again. Done pretty well. So it gives you a meaning. It gives you a little bit about the imagery in the card, then symbolisms, and upright and reverse. So there's great explanations in here. What I love about it is the ambiguity. It's dark, but there's like no faces on anything. It's dark and black, but you can still pick it apart. You can still see what's going on. Your intuition can really just kind of pick up on what it wants, what it needs to see at that time. It still has that spooky, dark vibe, but it's not terrifying. I feel like the Galatia deck is a little bit more terrifying because of the source material and how it's rendered, but this just feels more like a dream, really, like almost like a surreal version of dark. Like you can see here with the Queen of Cups, there's really no face here, but there's like tentacles to symbolize the water. And then here's the Devil card. So still creepy, still spooky, but it's not terrifying. So it's a great deck to kind of use when you want a little bit more nuance, that darker aesthetic without being spooked too much. I was really impressed with it. I didn't think I would connect with it as well as I did, but I just really like the ambiguity of it. So yeah, very interesting, very intriguing, very different. And I really do like that it's matte. And then let me show you how it shuffles. Bam. I don't have an issue with how it shuffles at all. Let me know if you guys own this deck. Is this going to be your everyday deck, or is this only brought out for certain reasons? Because that's what I do. I use it for certain things. My top #1 spooky, scary, dark aesthetic deck is the Murder of Crows Tarot. This is by Corrado Roy. This is another low Scarabeo deck. It is retailing for $26.95 in the US. I love this deck for its aesthetic so much. And it's actually a really great working everyday deck too. So it pulls apart at the top like this, and it gives the negative version. Ah, it's so fun. All right. So it is a gloss. The book is again in different languages. And it has a lot more information on each card. It gives you a little bit of info about the imagery and then what it means. So fantastically done there. It's very Gothic. There's the back. The cardstock itself is great. It's thicker. It snaps back really well, but like look at that imagery. For a black and white deck, this is done really well. Like, to me, this is like scary enough. This is all I need to have as far as spooky, as far as dark. I don't need something terrifying, but some of these can be a little terrifying, a little intense. But it works great as an everyday deck too. Like, it's not just, you know, for the aesthetic. It reads really well. Like, look at that. So yeah, very interesting deck. Very disturbing in certain ways, but at the same time it makes you think. It makes you kind of like figure out why you're having certain reactions to certain things. But yeah, the aesthetic is 100% dark. I can't really say enough good things about it because it's just, this is not my normal go-to imagery type deal. Like, this is more of like, I can't believe I like this deck so much. I don't normally go for the darker decks for every day, but this in the spooky season, this I will use every day because it just reads so well. You know what you're looking at, and it's just spooky enough. And it's not an eyesore. Like, you can see everything going on in the images, even though it's black and white. It's a little stiffer to shuffle because the cards are a little bit thicker. The quality is there. I really enjoy the guidebook, reading with it. So yeah, I really don't have any complaints with it. It's funny the amount of low Scarabeo decks that are on this list. I think like I have at least 6 of them on here. It's an interesting dichotomy to go through your tarot collection and to see like what publisher publishes kind of more of what. But yeah, I really enjoy this deck. If you are looking for a darker deck that has like a fun, funky feel that reads well, like to me, that's the most important thing. Aesthetic is great and all, but like I need a tarot deck that's going to read well. I highly recommend this. I think it's beautifully done. Like I said, no complaints. It is my top dark aesthetic deck. And again, another deck that I didn't think I was going to vibe with, but absolutely wonderful. So that being said, what deck is your favorite out of this list today? Do you own any of these decks? I know I ask you with each one what you use it for if you own it, but I'm really curious because it's very interesting, the different likes that the community has. So let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. A big thank you again to everyone for spending your time with me, hanging out. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you and I like you. And another huge thank you to Madam Glam New York for the sponsor of today's video. I so appreciate it. It again allows me to bring more content to you. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on the way out of this video. That way you will never miss an upload from me. Thank you again, everyone, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.